Welcome to the Generational Wealth Podcast. Debt is at an all-time high, and most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. In today's show, I'm going to show you 5 steps to help you get out of debt as quickly as possible. All I need you to do is smash that like button. It only takes 2 seconds, but it goes a really long way to growing this channel. I want to give a big shout out to everyone who's checked out my free webinar on the 3 keys to financial freedom. Guys, if you haven't checked out this free webinar, you are missing out. This is where I show you how you can create passive income. I want to show you in this webinar how I paid off $95,000 in student loans 2 years after graduating from college, and how I became a real estate investor that owns over $1 million worth of real estate here in Texas. I want to show you guys in this webinar how you can stop trading time for money. If you're going to create generational wealth, you've got to get out of a fixed salary. So you need to make sure that you check this out so you can learn these 3 keys. Here's the link. All you got to do is click the link and join. And as soon as you guys check that out, you will be well on your way to learning how wealthy people build a fortune. Now, for those of y'all that are on, y'all are in for a real treat. I'm going to first give a big shout out to all of my sponsors. I want to give a shout out to Paige, who made a top sponsorship last show. Y'all know sometimes Paige, she be donating, but she operates behind the scenes. And I want to thank everybody who showed love on the last podcast. We had an excellent time. If you're wondering, what's a sponsor? A sponsor is someone who donates to this channel to keep the shows going. If you've watched the Generational Wealth Podcast, you know I go all in on giving you nothing but the very best content to show you how to create generational wealth and leave a legacy. If you love this channel and you want to see me continue to educate the community, please do me a favor and tap that dollar icon directly below. Any donation is greatly appreciated, and all of your money goes towards me reinvesting into this channel so that way I can give you value that's better than ever. Whoever gives the top donation for this show will be the official sponsor for tonight's broadcast. And if you like using Cash App, you can always send your donation there. $Gen Wealth Podcast. Guys, you know I don't like to do a lot of talking about the house rules. Let's get into it. How to get out of debt while living paycheck to paycheck. That's what you want to know. Right now, most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Right now, most Americans are in debt. I want you guys to notice this article that came out at the end of last year. 63% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, including nearly half of 6-figure earners. With persistent inflation eroding wage gains, the number of Americans living paycheck to paycheck is near a historic high, according to a recent report. Almost half of those earnings more than $100,000 say they are just getting by. I got to run that back, guys. I don't want to speed through that too much. Almost half of those earning more than $100,000 say they are just getting by. Now, I remember back in the day, 6 figures was a lot of money. But now you got half the people making 6-figure incomes living paycheck to paycheck. What is going on? How do we get out of this problem? I want y'all to look at this. As rising prices continue to outpace wage gains, families are finding less cushion in their monthly budget. As of September, 63% of Americans were living paycheck to paycheck, according to a recent Lending Club report, near the 64% historic high hit in March. A year ago, the number of adults who felt strained was closer to 57%. Now, I want y'all to remember this was an article that came out last October. This article that came out last year said the year before that, there was almost a 10% change in the number of people who felt financially stressed out. Every year, more and more people are living paycheck to paycheck. That's what the numbers are saying. Consumers are not able to keep up with the pace of inflation that is increasing. Being employed is no longer enough for the everyday American. Wage growth has been inadequate. That means you making more money at the 9 to 5, leaving more consumers than ever with little to nothing left over after managing monthly expenses. Guys, I want y'all to notice this is a problem. Inflation has gone so high that it has priced most Americans out of their regular quality of living. As a result, a lot of us have gone into debt. But today, I want to show you how you can get out of debt while being paycheck to paycheck. Now, I'm not going to have y'all put yourselves out there and leave a comment on if you're in debt. I'm not going to put y'all on Front Street and ask you if you're living paycheck to paycheck. All I know is that there are a lot of people that are struggling. And I want us to not only get ourselves out of debt so that way we can have peace of mind, I want to show you guys how we can thrive and create generational wealth. There's one more point that I want us to look at from this article. Before I get back to the article, though, I want to give a shout out to everybody that's on. Shout out to Ariel. Shout out to Shebrew Naturals. If you guys are on right now, please leave me a comment. Let me know that you're here. I'll give you a shout out and show you some love. If you haven't done so already, make sure that you smash that like button. That way we can help this channel grow. Now, one key point in this article that we haven't touched on yet is the number of high income earners that are living check to check. Y'all remember seeing that in the headline? When you go a little bit further into this article, one of the things that it talks about is how even high income earners are stretched too thin. Of those earning more than six figures, 49% reported living paycheck to paycheck, a jump from the previous year's 38. Again, over the course of 12 months, you have a 10% jump in the number of people that are saying they are running out of money. You have 50% of people that are making six-figure incomes saying they're living paycheck to paycheck. So I guess the only people that's sitting pretty for the most part are millionaires. And when I'm saying millionaires, I'm talking about people that are making $1 million a year. Do you know how few people in America make that kind of money? For the rest of us, we've got to figure this out. I want to show you how you can still thrive even if you're living paycheck to paycheck. That's what we're going to talk about on this show. Shout out to everybody that's on. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. I know we're getting off to a later start. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate your patience. I'm happy to see my brother Roy in the house. Shout out to Lyra Texan. Peace and blessings, family. Happy to see my brother Ian Ortez in the house. He says, greetings. Recently went through bank statements to see where all my money was going. Now, I'm so happy that you said that, brother Ian, because that's exactly what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about some of the things that you can do to manage your money, to stop from living paycheck to paycheck. Even though you might not make all of the money in the world, right now, you can still get ahead of the curve. And the reason why I'm saying that is because even for those that are making six-figure incomes and beyond, they're still living paycheck to paycheck. It's not about how much money you make, it's about how much you keep. 1 in 3 workers are running out of money before payday. This is why you must have a zero-based budget. The key to you building wealth and getting out of debt while living paycheck to paycheck is having a zero-based budget. Now, what is a zero-based budget, guys? A zero-based budget is a way of tracking your money down to the last cent. A lot of you guys don't know where your money is going. A zero-based budget is where every expense is accounted for. When you start budgeting your money like this, and I'm going to show you how to do that on tonight's call, you're not going to spend money the same way that you did in previous months. We're not going to do something where you're just going to randomly let all of this money fly out the window. When you have a zero-based budget, you know exactly what you're going to spend money on before it's spent. You've already done the right calculations in advance. So here's the thing. When you have a zero-based budget, it will make sure that you don't spend beyond your means. Most people have gone into debt because they're spending more money than they make. The problem is it's so easy to spend beyond your means right now because everything costs an arm and a leg. Inflation is still through the roof. And we have to figure out how we can break the cycle. The only way that you're going to get out of debt is by having a zero-based budget. If you are living paycheck to paycheck like most Americans, this is going to be your lifeline. Now, guys, I'm going to be real with you up front. There is no magic bullet. You're not just going to sit here, listen to it, then go off and do nothing, and then magically be out of debt. Money doesn't work that way. If you're going to get out of debt, you're going to need to put in a little effort. So even though this is going to take a little bit of time to do your zero-based budget and get your money together, it's going to help you guys get out of debt and save a lot of money. Look at what Lyra Texan said. Tougher times ahead, I know. And you know they got a saying, Brother Roy, tough times don't last, but tough people do. So if we're going to survive, we've got to get tougher in managing our money. That's why I'm going to dedicate tonight's talk to why you should use a zero-based budget. The first reason why you should use a zero-based budget is because of awareness of spending. Have you ever gotten paid on Friday only to have spent that paycheck by Monday, not knowing where the money went? A zero-based budget forces you to examine every expense. That increases your awareness of where your money is going. Look at what Ian Ortez said to prove my point. Ian said, I recently went through bank statements to see where all my money was going. Now, here's the thing. Ian's bank statements only shows money that's already been blown. I want you guys to be proactive instead of reactive. So before the money is blown, how do we account for it? We do that by having a zero-based budget. When you have a zero-based budget, you already know where every dollar is going before you spend it. And by you having an increased awareness of where your money is going to go, that's going to help you save money. That's going to help you get out of debt. The more you know where your money is going, the better you can control the outcomes. Most people don't know where their money is going, and that's the reason why it's so easy to get into debt. Most people judge what they can afford by looking at their bank balance. You know what I'm talking about. A lot of us will go into our online checking account. We'll see how much money is there, and then that will decide if we can spend money or not. That's the reason why so many of us are going into debt. Guys, when I used to manage my money like that, where all I did was just look at my bank balance, you know what would happen to me every month? Going into overdraft. Because if you're basing your decision off of that one number, a lot of times we only spend up to that amount, but we forget how many other bills are coming after it. So, say that you go into your checking account right now and there's $500. You think, oh, that means I have $500 to spend. You then go out and start buying, but then you forget you got this bill coming this month. You got this expense that you forgot all about. You got this emergency happening over here. And then there's all of these different expenses that pile up that took money out of that 500 after you spent it. This is why so many people go into debt. When you go to your online checking account and you use that number to determine how much money you can afford to part ways with and spend, that is the number one way to get yourself into financial trouble. The only way you can stay ahead with your money is by using a zero-based budget. Now, guys, I'm going to keep it a buck with y'all. You know, I do this channel to help the average person get ahead. The only people who should not be using a zero-based budget are people that make so much money per month. They live a lifestyle where they won't run through it. Unless you make crazy amounts of money every single month and you never spend all of that money, you need to be operating on a zero-based budget. At least 95% of Americans need to operate on a zero-based budget. Even if you make multi six-figure salaries per year. You could be making $200,000 a year in America, $300,000 a year. You still need a zero-based budget, because I know a lot of y'all are thinking, oh man, if I was making six figures, I'd be balling out. No, you wouldn't. Life has gotten so expensive. Even if you make a six-figure income, you are still just getting by. And that's the reason why 50% of all six-figure earners are living paycheck to paycheck. You think it's a lot of money, but we've lost a lot of our buying power because of inflation. So this is what we've got to know. When you don't have a zero-based budget, it causes a lot of problems. You don't realize how much money you're spending on groceries. You don't realize how much money you're spending on fast food. A zero-based budget ensures that you're keeping your spending in check so that you're not spending money that you don't have. The second reason why you should use a zero-based budget is so that you can have better decision making with your money. When you have a zero-based budget, it requires you to prioritize your expenses based on its importance. You're not just throwing money all over the place. This will help you make better financial decisions so that you can allocate your money more effectively. Let me give you guys an example. Some of you guys want to spend more money on personal development, but you spend so much money buying food, you don't have enough to invest in yourself. It's not going to be until you set up a zero-based budget that you realize, oh, wait a minute. Instead of me spending all of this money on fast food, I need to make my personal development a top priority. When I invest in myself, I'm going to get more out of it. But most people only put money towards things that don't give them a return on their investment. Most people just pay the bills and then spend the rest of their life having to work. If you're going to create generational wealth, you're going to have to put your money into things that allow your money and your skills to grow. Zero-based budgets help you make better decisions. Now, when we talk about the importance of having a zero-based budget, guys, you need to know that a zero-based budget gives you more accurate forecasting. You know how when you get ready to put on your clothes during the winter season, you're going to check the forecast to see how cold it's supposed to be for the week? The same way that you have a weather forecast to let you know how you need to be dressing, you need to have a money forecast to let you know how you should be spending. That's what a zero-based budget does. A zero-based budget allows you to plan for the month. Before the month even begins, you're able to forecast what this month will look like. Let me give you all an example. Next month, I forecast I'm going to be spending a lot more money on gifts. There's a biblical holiday that I celebrate called Purim, and it's a time of giving gifts. Now, if I'm not operating on a zero-based budget, I could get right on this holiday and be like, oh, snap, I didn't set any money aside for gifts. And then what happens? I'm not going to be able to give gifts to other people. Somebody might give a gift to me and I haven't given anything to them. I'm going to feel bad. And that's going to cause all these problems. So you've got to forecast for what's coming today so you can have a better tomorrow. I tell this to my church members all the time, guys. Listen, I don't know how many of y'all have checked out my church channel, True Spirit of Christ, but I'm always speaking to my congregation about how you have to plan ahead. Every year, we have a big Passover event. And one of the things I always tell the members is you need to forecast in advance. How much money do you need to set aside right now to afford travel expenses? You need to have a zero-based budget. How much money do you need to set aside for food? But every year, nobody listens. And do you know what happens? Once it comes time for Passover, well, if I don't make enough money to afford the bills for that month and hotel and travel expenses, well, I just can't go. You don't want to do it that way. You want to forecast before the month begins. You need to already be knowing how much money is going to cost you on gas, food, clothes. You need to already set that aside. So once it comes time to afford it, you already have the money to pay. This is what a zero-based budget does. A zero-based budget allows you to look at your life and start from scratch. It's going to give you an accurate picture of your financial situation. And not only does forecasting give you an accurate picture of what's to come, it puts you in the best position to plan for future financial goals. Listen, guys, why do you want to get out of debt in the first place? Just a question. Leave me a comment and let me know. Some of you guys might want to get out of debt so that way you can take your family on a vacation. Some of you guys want to get out of debt so that way you can buy your first investment property. When you get out of debt, that's going to open up so many opportunities in your life. But you will never get out of debt if you're not operating on a budget. A budget is what helps you reach your future financial goals. And let me give a big shout out to my brother Rodney Lawrence. Thank you, King. It's so good to see you on, man. I pray all is well with you and your family. It's always a pleasure, my brother. Thank you so much for your support. For those of you that are on tonight, we're talking about how to get out of debt. Most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and debt is going through the roof. On today's show, I'm showing you guys 5 steps on how you can get out of debt, even if you're living paycheck to paycheck. All I need y'all to do is smash that like button. And if you're getting a lot of value from this podcast, please donate to keep the show going. Right now, we got our first sponsorship of $5 from my brother Rodney Lawrence. If anybody else can donate, that would be much appreciated. Ian says, I want to get out of debt just to feel more secure and comfortable. So far, I only have 3,500 left to go. Keep going, my brother. Just be consistent. Consistency is key. And I want to show you guys how to do it. How do you get out of debt while you're living paycheck to paycheck? Here's how. You operate off of a zero-based budget. Guys, I'm not talking about something that I read in a book. I'm telling you what I did. When I graduated from Baylor University in 2010, I had over $95,000 in student loans. I paid more money towards my student loans every single month than I did the cost of my rent. When I'm giving you guys these steps, I'm telling you how I paid off over $95,000 in debt. And you know what else? A lot of you guys know my story. You know my background. You know my history. At the end of 2018, I went through a major emergency, which put my family in debt. And I had to get out of it all over again. I had to pay off over $80,000 in debt. And I did that in 2 years' time. So, guys, I'm talking about what I know. I'm showing you guys as someone that has paid off significant amounts of debt time and time again, because expenses are always coming. I'm showing you guys the tricks to the trade. You can only do this with a zero-based budget. You want to raise your income and make more money on the side, but with the money that you're making, you have to manage it well through your budget. When you have a zero-based budget, it gives you greater accountability. Y'all know I'm very big on accountability. I believe that that's a key to life. A zero-based budget requires you to hold yourself accountable for every expense you make. When you hold yourself accountable, it helps you stay on track with your financial goals to avoid overspending. Now, again, Ian said he wants to get out of debt so he could feel more comfortable and more secure. So if he's operating off of a zero-based budget, that means he needs to look at his budget from month to month. He needs to see how he's spending his money. And if he's going over his budget, he needs to start holding himself accountable and saying, bro, you got to get yourself in check. You're spending too much money on this. You're spending too much money on that. The budget is your accountability tool. Guys, this applies to every facet of life. If you want to be successful at anything, you must have accountability. All successful people have accountability partners, whether they have coaches, whether they have spouses, whether they have someone that's in their corner monitoring their progress along the way. If you're just out here living life and there's nobody to keep you on the rails, I'm telling you, there's no way that you're going to be one of the top dogs. All high class performers have accountability. Now, when we talk about the zero based budget, one of the reasons why it's so important is because it gives you more efficiency. See, when you operate off of this budget that tracks your spending through the month, it really makes you think about the ways you can save money. When you start to see, hey, you know what? Maybe I don't need to spend this much on groceries, then that's extra money that you can put towards getting out of debt right there. By you tracking your money from month to month, that allows you to be a lot more efficient with how you spend your resources. Guys, I'm going to tell you something. Having a zero based budget is the quickest way to get a raise. Having a zero based budget is the quickest way to get a raise. You don't need to go into your boss's office begging for mercy. If you're spending money right now and you don't know where that money is going, having a zero based budget can help you save. We got to stop spending. It can help you save hundreds of dollars. I'm telling you all this. See, a lot of you don't operate off of a zero based budget because you think that you already know where your money is going. But I promise you, unless you're doing this, you probably don't know how much money you're really spending on transportation, on food, on all of these different unexpected expenses that comes up. If you don't have any tracking over that, it is going to kill your money. In order to create generational wealth, you've got to start a zero based budget. Now, let me tell you what happens if you don't do this. I'm just laying all the cards on the table, guys, and I'm going to show you the steps on how to set this zero based budget up. Stay with me. I'm just giving you guys all of the do's and don'ts so that way you can realize why you need a zero based budget right now. When you don't use a zero based budget, the first thing that you're going to do is overspend. Because if you don't have a clear plan for your spending, it's easy to get into debt. When you have no clear plan for how you spend your money, you will overspend and spend beyond that what you make, and then you will go into debt. This is how it happens. Then that leads to financial stress, and it makes it that much harder for you to achieve your long-term goals. I want you guys to do this for me real quick. I know some of y'all, you might think, oh my God, this is hocus pocus. I promise you, this is what helped me create generational wealth. I want you guys to close your eyes right now and think about what you would do with your life if money was not an issue. Where would you go? Who would you take with you? Who would you visit? What would you do if you were not so held back financially? Now, keep closing your eyes. I want you to think about a time where someone very close to you was suffering and you couldn't do more to help out because you were struggling financially. Maybe you had a family member who was going through some kind of terminal illness and you could not afford to help them with their medical bills. Maybe you had someone who needed to go to the hospital, but they didn't because they couldn't afford it, and that caused them a lot of problems. Maybe you had a family member, a close loved one that was on their deathbed, but you couldn't travel to see them because you had to go to work. If this has happened to you, allow this to be your motivation to start building wealth. When you build wealth, this gives you the option to help. But you can't help others if you don't help yourself. You might have people that are very close to your life that you could be a blessing to. But because you're not operating off a zero-based budget, everybody suffers. I want y'all to understand something. When we talk about the concept of building generational wealth, you're passing money down to a future generation. There's somebody that you have in mind that you want to leave a legacy for, so they don't have to go through life with the same struggles as you did when you were coming up. How will they be blessed by you if you piss away all your money? If you're not using a zero-based budget, you are taking away from your legacy. And the only way you can tell me different is if you are making so much money every single month that you're not even spending half the money that you have. If that's not you, you need to be operating off of budget, y'all. Listen, ain't nothing wrong with operating on a zero-based budget. I use it. It has helped me pay off $95,000 in student loan debt. It's paid off thousands of dollars in credit card debt, tens of thousands. It's helped me invest in my first investment property, buy my second property. Every time I did something of significance with money, I was always operating off of a budget. Ariel, you better tell him. Every time I got a little worse with money, I wasn't operating off of a budget. I said, oh, no, I don't need that. I'm out of debt now. I'm good. And then that's when the problem happens again, guys. I'm going to give you all a little secret. Some of you guys are going to watch this content so you can pay off your credit cards. And then as soon as you become debt free, you're going to think that you don't need to keep doing the things that got you out of debt in the first place. So you're going to go back to how you were before you started budgeting. And you know what's going to happen then? You're going to go all the way back into debt because those habits is what got you into debt in the first place. The only way that you're going to stay out of debt is by building new habits that help get rid of the debt, not add it on. A zero-based budget helps you get out of debt as quickly as you can. Let's talk about the second reason why, if you don't have a zero-based budget, your finances are going to suffer. If you don't have a zero-based budget, you're going to suffer from wasted opportunities. Guys, one of the things that me and my wife always talk about is you've got to take advantage of the opportunity of a lifetime in the lifetime of an opportunity. One of our mentors, Eric Thomas, always talks about that. There is a window of opportunity. And if you don't handle your business within that window of the opportunity, boy, you might not ever get that opportunity again in life. Do y'all know what I'm saying? I want y'all to leave me a comment. Don't just listen to me talk. Leave me a comment and tell me about a time where you missed out on a real opportunity Because you didn't have your money in the right place. Let me give you guys a prime example. One of my wasted opportunities was with cryptocurrency. I saw where crypto was going, but because I had my money in other places, I couldn't take advantage of the moment. When the pandemic happened, I could have made more moves with money than I did, but I had money focused in other places. So there were certain opportunities that I missed out on. Guys, that window, whenever the pandemic popped off, that was a once in a lifetime event. That was an opportunity where wealthy people made a lot of money because nobody saw it coming and a lot of businesses went under, which gave a lot of wealthy people opportunities to buy shares of companies at rock bottom prices. A lot of times when I manage my money, I'm doing it with plans for the future. The reason why so many people will go broke is because they're only spending for the moment. They never think about how their decisions are going to impact them 5, 10 years down the line. You've got to be forward thinking. When you don't have a zero-based budget, you don't have a plan for your spending. When you don't have a plan for your spending, it's difficult to know if you're using your money wisely. That will lead to wasted money. That will lead to missed opportunities. If you don't have a budget, you're going to miss the opportunity to save money. If you don't have a clear plan for your money, you're going to miss the opportunities to invest in assets that's going to grow over time. There might be certain key stocks that could give you a high return on your money right now, but you won't be able to take advantage of it because you don't have control over your money. If you're going to win and build wealth, you've got to manage your money. And without managing a budget, it's so easy to fall behind on debt payments. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what it's like when that bill collector call your house. Oh yeah, I'd like to speak to Jim. Here it is. You're on the phone with the person. You're Jim. Oh, no habla inglés. You know what I'm talking about. You get on that phone and you act like you're not Jim. You got to make sure that you stay on top of your budget, y'all, so that way you don't have bill collectors calling your house. You know what it's like when bill collectors then called you, your family. You got parents telling you, no, don't answer the phone. Here it is. You telling mommy, somebody's calling the phone. Somebody's calling you, mommy. Don't answer it. It's the bill collectors. Mommy, I thought I'm supposed to answer the phone. Boy, shut up. Go in the other room. Without a budget, it's easy to fall behind. And if you're already in debt, that will only make matters worse. When you don't have a zero-based budget, it will lead to the missed opportunity of ways for you to improve your credit score and reduce your debt load. For all of my church people that's on, do you know what you do whenever you don't use a zero-based budget? You miss out on the opportunity to give. Now, see, I know that some of you guys are saying, what is he talking about? I give all the time. I bet you could probably give more if you budgeted your money. Because right now, you don't have a real way to control how much money you can give. You're just going off of guess of what you can. Now, one of the reasons why I've been able to give on a consistent basis is because I already have a church alms budget. So I know that every single month my house is going to be giving because before the month starts, we already have a plan. The church is going to get this much. So if charity is important to you, giving, donating, you not having a zero-based budget, it can take you away from that opportunity. And for all of my travelers out there, if you're not operating off of a zero-based budget, boy, there's going to be a lot of trips that you miss out on. Ask anybody. The key to traveling and going on vacations is having a budget. You make the money, you have to manage the money so you can afford to go on trips. Most people never get to go anywhere because they don't have a budget that allows for vacation. You got to be able to put this in order. Now, we could talk about things like poor financial decision making since you don't have a budget because you don't have any clear picture of what's going on with your money. It doesn't allow you to make good financial decisions. We could talk about the lack of accountability and all the problems that happens when you don't hold yourself accountable in life. We can talk about how difficult it would be for you to ever achieve your financial goals. Because if you don't have a clear plan for your spending, how are you ever going to find the resources to save money, get out of debt, and invest for the future? Whenever I invest my money, I know how much money I can put towards investments because it's allocated for in my budget. Everything comes from the budget: spending, saving, getting out of debt, going on vacation, investing in stocks, real estate, cryptocurrency. It all stems from the budget. So let's talk about the steps. Let's talk about the 5 key steps on how you can set up a zero-based budget. Hopefully you understand the importance of having a zero-based budget. Now I'm going to show you guys how to do it. Let me check these comments. Right now, Ian says, I remember we even had to change our phone number so that way you couldn't get a call from the bill collector. And look at that. Damn, you have to spend money just so you don't get in trouble by somebody else that's getting on you about other money you didn't spend. You having to spend money because you didn't spend money. You gotta rob Peter to pay Paul. It makes no sense. You're going deeper into debt because you don't want to address the debts that are right in front of you. This is why you need a budget. And I keep telling you guys, this is going to make the difference between the people that get pushed into the upper class versus those that get pushed into poverty. Every single podcast, I tell you guys, America is going to cut the middle class. In the next 5, 10, 15 years, you either got it or you don't. For everybody that's thinking, oh, I can just, work at my regular 9 to 5. I'm going to have a nice house in the suburbs and build me a family. We're going to live so comfortably. You are delusional. If you want to live a comfortable life, you're going to have to manage your money. Everybody else that's not making money nor managing it, America is going to push them to the bottom of the bucket. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. The truth hurts, y'all. Now is the time. Learn how to set up your zero-based budget. If you're enjoying what we're talking about so far, please make sure that you donate. All you got to do is tap the dollar icon directly below. Okay, support the channel, y'all. This is helping you guys improve your finances. Now, here are the 5 steps of zero-based budgeting. Y'all ready? Number 1, go to mint.com and set up a free account. Mint Mint.com, Mint. Mint.com is a free program that allows you to create a budget and track your expenses. I am not sponsored by Mint. The only reason I'm telling you this is because this is exactly what I did to get out of debt. This is how I paid off my student loans in 2 years' time. Mint.com is a free program that allows you to create a zero-based budget and track your expenses. Mint helps you to identify areas where you're overspending so that you could find ways to cut back. Guys, the reason why you want to use Mint.com is because it's an automated money management system. This is not like back in the day. You know how your mom used to tell you, oh, put it all in a checkbook, balance a checkbook. This is not that. This is doing all of the work for you. So when you use Mint.com, you don't have to hold on to all of your receipts. You don't have to go on Microsoft Excel and try to key in every little thing that you're doing from every little purchase. When you get on Mint.com, it's going to track all of your spending, and it's going to tell you exactly where your money is going. This goes back to what I was saying a little earlier when I was talking to Ian. When Ian said that he had to go through the bank statements to see where all of his money was going, you don't have to wait for the bank statements that come out the month after you've already spent the money. All you have to do now is get on Mint.com, and it's going to tell you where your money is going in real time. Y'all need to get on this, y'all. All of this is free information, free nuggets, free game. Rodney says, I've started portion controlling on the plate. It has reduced my weight and grocery bill. That's a win-win, King. Keep doing it. Mint.com. You can set financial goals on Mint. You can track your progress. This will keep you motivated to get you to where you need to be long term. A lot of you guys don't realize Mint.com isn't just about having a budget. It's about whatever financial goals you have in store, whether it's getting out of debt, whether it's hitting your emergency fund, saving up for your emergency fund. I always talk about 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. Some of you guys have a financial goal of investing a certain amount of money per year. Mint.com allows you to do that. You can budget your money. You can set financial goals to track your progress. And it even has a bill tracker on the page. So that way it'll tell you exactly when your bills are coming so you don't miss any payments. That's going to help you save a lot of money and avoid late fees and other penalties. If you have investments, Mint tracks them. It helps to monitor your portfolio. I manage my portfolio through Mint.com. It'll tell me how my real estate portfolio is looking, how my stock portfolio is looking, how my crypto portfolio is looking. It allows me to see it all in one place. Mint even offers free credit score monitoring, which is going to help you stay on top of your credit score, and it's going to show you areas for improvement. Mint.com, if you listening, you need to give your boy a sponsorship. People are really going to think the way I'm putting on for y'all that y'all are sponsoring the Generational Wealth podcast. I have no sponsorship at all with Mint.com, but I need to after this podcast. Mint can send you alerts to tell you what's going on with your money. It can send you reminders of when your bills are due or when you're approaching your budget limit. That's another thing that y'all not up on. So if you have a budget, Mint is going to tell you, hey, you're on track for the month, you're under, you're doing really well, or you're getting close to overspending. A lot of you guys don't get the picture until you've already overspent your money. You need a tool that will tell you it's about to happen before it does. That way you can start making action in the moment. Now, some of you guys are asking, well, how do I know I can protect, my money on mint.com? First off, you're not putting any money on mint.com. It's tracking your money. It's not moving the money around. Mint.com just downloads your bank statements so that way it understands where your money is going. It uses the same security as an online bank. So when you use mint.com, it's just as secure as if you were going through Bank of America online banking, Chase online banking, Wells Fargo. It has the same security. When I was paying off my student loan debt, Mint was extremely helpful. And it's free, guys. You have no excuses. So go ahead and get started. Now, that's just step one. Step two, identify your income streams. You need to identify your income and list all of the sources of income that you receive in the month. Again, we're going to plan ahead. You need to know, this is how much money I'm making in my salary. This is how much money I'm making in my bonuses. This is how much I'm making from side hustles, any other streams of income. Y'all know I always tell y'all the average millionaire has 7 different streams of income. Right now, you might just be at one. When you set up your zero-based budget, you want to plan for how much money you're going to make for the coming month. This is something that you guys need to be planning for at the end of every month. So when it comes to planning for the month of March, you need to already have your zero-based budget ready at the end of February. That way, you already have a plan before the month begins. When you identify your income, some of you may not know exactly how much money you'll make for the month. So you'll want to start off with a conservative estimate. Here's what I do as a business owner. I don't work at a 9-to-5 job. So for me, I don't have a fixed salary. What I do is I go off of a conservative estimate of how much money I know I'm going to make for the month. And then anything else is an added bonus. So let's say that you're running a business and okay, if I don't make anything else, I know that I'm going to make at least $1,000 for the month. You might end up making $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, but you're only going to set your initial budget for $1,000. You want to make sure that you don't count your chickens before they hatch. You don't want to be up here talking about, I'm going to have $10,000 income, but you've never made that much. So you're going to spend money like somebody that makes 10,000. No, it's much better for you to budget your money based upon what you know that you're going to make, so that if you make anything beyond that, it's just an added bonus. The third thing that you guys want to do is categorize your expenses. This is the third step. You want to create a list of all of your expenses for the month. This includes fixed expenses and variable expenses. Now, fixed expenses are things like your rent, mortgage, car payment. These are things that you know is coming every month in fixed amounts. Variable expenses are things like groceries, entertainment, clothes. This is where you might buy something for the month and you might not. The dollar amount changes. You want to categorize your expenses by priority. What do I mean when I say that, guys? I'm going to explain this by sharing with y'all a gem that all wealthy people know. Whenever I create my budget, I always create a budget category for personal development. Now, let me tell you why that's the secret to wealth. 95% of people only put their money towards things that will maintain their lifestyle, not grow it. 95% of people will only put their money towards things that will maintain their quality of living at best. When you think about it, the average person will only put money towards things like rent, gas, food, clothes. Those things are not making you any money. But imagine if you started putting things towards training, courses, books, tools that helped you learn new skills that put you in high demand. You're going to get paid based upon your level of skill in the marketplace, how you use that skill to solve problems. So, if you want to build wealth, you need to invest every month into your personal development. You need to learn, hey, if I want to be an entrepreneur, how do entrepreneurs make money? If I want to have a successful online business, how do successful online businesses work? We're not just coming out the womb knowing this, guys. We pay for this. We get mentors, we get coaches, we learn through different programs how we can make money. But if you're like most people that's only putting money towards things that's not giving you any ROI, well, you can't complain if you're not building generational wealth. Everybody that's out here building generational wealth, they have to invest in it. The key to building wealth is investing. And not just investing in real estate, not just investing in stocks. The number one investment is yourself. And so when I think about the personal development category on my budget, for me, that's one of my top priorities. I put that over the priority of food, over utilities. And do you know the reason why I would do something so crazy? Because I'd rather you take everything I have except my mind. Because if you take my mind, I won't be able to hold on to everything I have in the first place. But if I can keep my mind, you can get rid of everything that I have, and the Lord would bless me with being able to build it all back again, because you have to have the knowledge on how to do it. I'd rather have a book than a house. See, this is the type of thing that separates rich people from poor people. Everybody gets money, but what you do with the money makes all the difference. How are you going to set up your personal budget? You need to have priorities. If you're spending all of your money towards nonsense, no wonder you're not getting ahead in life and reaching your goals. The next thing that I want you guys to do, guys, is to prioritize your expenses based upon their level of importance to your goals. Okay. So, for example, some of you guys are wondering, hey, how do I get out of debt? Well, some of y'all, you might say, well, I'm going to just live life the way that I want to live it. And then after that, whatever money I have left in my account, then I'm going to put that money towards my debt. And then you wonder why you don't have no money left at the end of the month to go towards debt. If you're going to get out of debt, you got to make debt payoff a top priority. I'm keeping it a buck with you guys. When I was getting rid of my student loans, I used to walk to work every day. I had a car, but I wasn't trying to spend on gas. I walked to work every day. When I walked to work, you know what I ate for lunch? Peanut butter sandwiches, no jelly. I used to have coworkers, man, you're so stupid. You're making this money. You should be going with us to the Cheesecake Factory. What kind of loser comes to work every day with a peanut butter sandwich? The kind that's going to retire from corporate America by 26. The kind that's going to be debt free by 23. The kind that's going to be owning real estate by 25. While y'all are still here until you're senior citizens, not being able to retire because you blow all your money. Yeah, that kind of loser buys nothing and puts their money towards debt because you want to think about the big picture. Guys, the problem with so many people is they feel like, oh, well, if I have to manage my money, I'm going to take losses right now. And that's too uncomfortable. Do you really think that I care that I was eating peanut butter sandwiches when I was 21 years old? I was out of debt by 23, guys. Do you really think that in all of life's problems, I look back at my life at 35 and I say, man, Ian, you know what my biggest problem is? My biggest problem in life is when I was 22, I didn't go with all of my coworkers to the sushi restaurant. No. I look back on my life at 35 and say, you know what? I'm so happy that I got out of debt at 23 so that I could start building passive income by 25, so that I could retire from a job I couldn't stand at 26. I watch so many people rot away in corporate and they want to get out, but it's like a prison, but they didn't manage their money. You've got to manage your money. You just can't make the money. You've got to do the right things with it. And that's the reason why I'm always showing you guys the free webinar on the 3 keys to financial freedom. That's the reason why I'm always telling you guys how wealthy people will build their fortune through insurance. The reason why I give you all this game is because I'm trying to show you guys that even if you work a good job, you're going to be stuck in a life that you don't want until you consider other avenues. You cannot just make money from a job. You've got to know how to take that money and put it towards other things to build the life that you really want. Right now, you're just making a living. The people who have a fortune are different from the people who have a living. When you have a fortune, you don't have to work. When you have a fortune, you're able to bless others. You're able to do the things that you want to do when you want to do it. When you have a fortune, you're able to live a rich life that's not with money. I'm not even talking about money when I'm talking about this, guys. I'm saying when you have a fortune, you're able to buy foods that don't give you a heart attack. But if you don't have no money, you're having to spend money on low quality meals that's going to put you in the hospital. So you're still going to be paying, but it's going to be in the form of the medical bill. The folks with money, they're buying the high quality food so that way they don't have to pay as much in the hospital. This is a game, guys, and you got to know the rules. You got to categorize your expenses based upon your priorities. And then whenever you've done that, the 4th step is for you to put your income towards the expenses. Before I go into step 4, I'm going to start looking at these comments. I see these comments is popping right now. All right, I see Rodney. He had talked a little bit earlier about how he was on portion control, and that helped him a lot. The brother Akaman says, one of my brothers in his troop fell on hard times, lost his job and his fixed income. He said him being debt-free because he's on a zero-based budget was able to pay his light bill every month for 8 months or more. And he doesn't want the money back because it was a blessing to help someone in the time of need. This is unbelievable, y'all. How are you going to be able to help someone else if you haven't helped yourself? How are you going to be able to look out for somebody else for the next 8 months if you never operated off of a zero-based budget to set money aside? We're so busy in the habit of instant gratification, we never think about, hey, I might actually want to help somebody else. A lot of people be selfish and they never even think about how much satisfaction that they would get in life just from helping someone else. I want y'all to understand something. The reason why I retired from corporate America is because I felt like I was doing meaningless work. I always said to myself, I don't want to die behind this cubicle and God takes all of my talents to the grave. My ability to speak, my ability to help people with managing their money, the gifts that God has given me to be able to help people in church. I don't want all of these gifts to go to the graveyard and never see the light of day. Again, I would have never positioned myself to level up if I wasn't operating off of a budget. I could have been like everybody else and spent the money as soon as I got it. And then that would have kept me stuck in a job. Then that would have kept me stuck to all of these different lenders that are out there, all these loan sharks. It would have kept me stuck on Sally Mae. It would have kept me stuck on Bank of America credit cards. It would have had me stuck. The key to getting unstuck is to budget your money and plan ahead. So on this fourth step of putting your income towards your expenses, you're going to allocate your income. Remember, your budget is your income minus your expenses. You're going to put your money towards the expenses that you've approved. So, hey, I've got a fun money budget. So does my wife. This is how much money you can spend every month. We know how much money we can put towards having fun, and we can spend it on whatever we want. That's freedom. It gives us the peace of mind that when we go out and buy something, we don't have to worry about if we're putting ourselves in the poorhouse because we've already done the right budgeting. When you have a zero-based budget, you want to make sure that you put your money towards the expense categories that you set up. Remember, I went over this earlier. You're going to have a budget category in Mint for rent. You're going to have a budget category for your car payment. You're going to have a budget category for your groceries. The list goes on. You know what your expenses are. Set up those categories. And every month, you're going to put money towards those expenses. The reason why it's called a zero-based budget is because you're going to allocate all of your money to these expenses until it reaches zero. So you got to make sure if you have $5,000 in income, that means you need to have a budget category that totals 5,000. Now, 1,000 of that could go towards debt. 500 of that could go towards debt. You need to be able to balance it out. And when you sit down and you crunch the numbers, that's going to tell you how much you can afford to put to each area to reach your goals. Right now, you don't know. And that is really holding you back in life. And you know the one thing that's holding back, guys? Time. Because a lot of your time is determined by your money. When I managed my money to get me out of debt, that changed my time because it put me in a position with my time where I had the opportunity now to get out of work. That gave me time to put my focus in other places. When you don't have management over your money is going to mess up how you manage your time. That's why I always tell you, every wealthy person I know is a master of time management. Get good with your money, you'll be good with your time. You get good with your time, you get good with your money. They both go hand in hand. So once you've identified what are your right expenses and how much you can afford to put to every area, that's when you're going to put money towards those expenses. You're not just going to be out here spending all willy-nilly. Last but not least, guys, you're going to review your budget throughout the month and make adjustments. You got to monitor your progress along the way. So now you've got your mint.com account set up. You've understood this is how much I'm making a month. You mapped out all of your expenses, and now you're putting money towards the expenses that you've laid out. The last thing that you're going to do is review your budget on Mint through the month to make sure that you're staying on track with your plan. You got to have a plan and you got to stick to the plan. All successful people have plans. If you want to build an empire, you've got to have a plan, guys. When they set up the Great Wall of China, that was based upon somebody's specific plan. No, okay. Do you guys understand? Nobody gets successful by accident. Nobody just wakes up one day and say, "Oh my God, there goes $1 million. I had no idea how this money was going to come. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to study anything. I didn't have to make any sacrifices. I just woke up out of bed one day and up, there the $1 million went just knocking at my door." It don't work like that. All successful people have plans. When you set up your zero-based budget, that is your financial plan for your life. That's telling you when you'll be able to live the life that you want. So once you've set this plan for the month, that's when you want to review it day by day just to make sure that you're on track. I always recommend you set up your plan on Mint. You got your zero-based budget. And as long as you check it for 5 minutes a day, everything else is history. And guys, when I'm talking about 5 minutes a day, there's days throughout the week where I don't check it at all. I never check my money on Saturdays. I'm with the church. I don't check it on holidays. I'm enjoying life. Every day outside of that, that's when I'm checking the money for 5 minutes a day. Hey, are we on track with our budget? Are we going to overspend? Can I put a little bit more money towards this category? Maybe I should take away less. Ariel will tell you. And just by doing that consistently over time, that's how I've been able to grow to having over $1 million in real estate assets alone. This has been a consistent plan that I've done to invest in real estate, to invest in stocks, to invest in my online business, and to put the majority of my time to dedicate my life to the ministry of God, because that's my calling. I use my money to help me walk in my calling. If I'm going to serve other people, there's a good chance I'm going to need money, whether I'm buying food for someone else, clothes for someone else, helping somebody out, like how Brother Akaman was saying. These are things that we have to do. You cannot help other people if you don't help yourself. It's that simple. Jay-Z already told y'all, I can't help the poor if I'm one of them. So I got rich and gave back to me. That's the win-win. It's not for you to be able to take whatever money that God blesses you with and spend it on foolishness. It's for you to protect your name, your family, your life, your legacy. God put you here for a purpose, and you have to be a good steward with the resources that he has given you so that you can take your life to the next level. And you can only do that if you're using a zero-based budget. Okay, guys, so hopefully y'all really enjoyed this. Like my brother Rodney Lawrence said, fam, we have to support the channel. This is part of our personal development journey. Hey, I be telling them, brother Rodney, people will be asking, man, when are you going to get back on the shows? How come you stopped doing the shows? I was learning so much. I need the support. I'm taking time, energy, effort into doing this. Your donations is what keeps the channel going. So if you guys get a lot of value from this content and you want to see me continue to do more, please donate to the channel so that we can keep it going. When you donate to the channel, this tells YouTube that this is the type of content that others want to see. If nobody is donating, this tells YouTube, all right, ain't nobody checking for this. If you get a lot of value from this, and this is the type of content that you think other people need to see so we can improve our communities, please do me a favor. Tap that dollar icon directly below. It ain't got to be trillions of dollars, y'all, because I don't want y'all to mess up your budget. But $5, $10, $15, it goes a very long way. Okay. There's a lot more that I want to put into these podcasts, but I cannot do it without your help. Even if you guys are watching these streams when the live is over, you can still donate. All you got to do is tap that thanks button directly below this video. If you want to donate through Cash App, all you got to do is $Gen Wealth Podcast, and you can give your donations there. Thank you so much, my brother. I appreciate that, because you took care of your business the way that you're supposed to through your zero-based budget. That's now made you a blessing unto others, including myself. And I appreciate that, my brother. I definitely appreciate the blessing, and I hope that you can sincerely see how much effort I'm trying to put towards our community to be able to help us grow, man, spiritually, financially, in marriage, all of the above. I'm putting it in 7 days a week, y'all. Whether it's in my church, whether it's in the business, there's no days off for me. This is my life's calling. And so to be able to have all of you brothers and sisters support, it really does mean a lot to me, y'all. And Sister Tamar says, thanks for teaching the lessons that were missed growing up. Absolutely. I want to make sure that all of us get what we need, so that way we can continue to build our families, so we could continue to build our communities. Guys, this is the way that you do it. All right. So thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thank you to all of the sponsors. If you got a lot of value, once again, please make sure that you donate. If this is your first time watching this channel, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you can receive an alert whenever I do another show. I try to do these shows 3 times a week, and I've worked really hard to be consistent. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Okay. Mondays and Wednesdays, I try to do these shows around 6:30 p.m. Central. Sometimes it's maybe a little bit later than that. Fridays, I try to do these shows anywhere between 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Okay, so make sure that y'all tap in with me on that. Go ahead and mark your calendars. Expect to see me on. If I won't be on, I'm going to send a post on a channel that I won't be on. If I haven't put a post out, I'm planning to be on. All right. For those of you guys that want to work with me a little bit more closely, if you get a lot of value through my free content on this platform, I definitely encourage you guys to check out my 12-month coaching program, Your Breakthrough Year. This is my elite program that shows you guys how you can make more money and maximize your productivity so you can reach your biggest goals 10 times faster. For those of you that have gone through the program, you know this is where I really outline how I got out of debt, how I invested in real estate, how I became a best-selling author, all in my 20s. I show you guys in this program how world-class performers manage their time, money, and energy different than everybody else to get amazing results. Guys, if you think that success is as easy as just waking up in the morning and just starting to work on something, you are so confused. And that's the reason why I have this channel, because my job is to really break a lot of the myths that you were taught that was designed to keep you stuck in the system. I hope you all know that. The myth of go to school, get good grades so you could get a good job and buy a nice house. That was a script that was programmed in you to put you in the middle class. That's not the same thing that the elite was taught growing up. If you want to get your family out of poverty, you've got to do things differently. And that's the reason why I'm so passionate about giving you guys all this free content. That's the reason why I'm so passionate about giving you guys my book, the How to Succeed Survival Guide. This is the reason why I'm so passionate about you guys joining my programs, because I'm trying to put together as much content as I can, enough learning, my own university, to be able to show you guys how to truly become the very best version of yourself so that you can reach your full potential. If I can do it, so can you. So guys, thank you so much for supporting the channel. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for tapping in with me. A lot more y'all are getting on now the later that it gets. I don't want to hop off now, but we just talked about how you can budget your money through a zero-based budget so that you can get out of debt while living paycheck to paycheck. If you're just getting on, make sure that you catch the start of the broadcast. All right, y'all. I'm planning on being back on here on Wednesday. Make sure that you tap in with me. Like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment, and hopefully I'll see you guys on the next show. Until next time, y'all, stay focused, keep pushing, and don't forget, get on the